our work for this problem is to find the fraction that's equal to 2.382, where the 82 is repeating. So I do have some things down at the bottom of the screen, and the reason I have them there is because I'm going to pull them up while we're talking, but I don't want to start with them up. And there's going to be a lot of work, and when I looked at it all together, I was kind of overwhelmed, so I thought it would be better if we kept them down at the bottom of the screen, and we pulled them up when we needed them. Let's do this one thing at a time. We're going to start here, and I'm going to define, by my choice, that x is going to be equal to 2.382, where the 82 is repeating. And I'm going to multiply by just enough so that the repeating part comes up just behind the decimal point, right? So in this case, that means I need to multiply by 10. And of course, you know the rules. If you're going to multiply on one side of the equal sign by 10, you got to do it on the other side. So now we have 10 times x, or 10x, is equal to 23.82, and the 82 is repeating. Now let's pull up one of these pieces I promised you. And let's focus on sorting out that 0.82. It's going to be important. So I'm going to let y, this is one of those places where I get to define things, right? So I'm going to let y be equal to just that 0.82. All right? So I'm going to say that y is equal to 0.82 repeating, and I'm going to multiply by 10 squared, or 10 to the second power. And when I do that, both sides of the equation, please, I have 100y equal to 82.82, and the 82 is repeating. You may be thinking, and why is this helping? This is just getting worse. So it is, but it's not. That decimal point that's there is another way of saying and. When we say and, we can write that as addition. And when we write it as addition, we can then say, okay, that piece that's repeating, I just defined it as y. So if I have 82 plus 0.82 repeating, that 0.82 repeating can be written as y. So now I have 100y equal to 82 plus y. Now again, you may be thinking, how on earth is this helpful? Things are just going from bad to worse. So let's not panic yet. Instead, let's do some pretty basic, we've been doing this for a couple of, maybe 2 years now. Let's just do some basic algebra. I'm going to subtract y on both sides of the equation, and maybe now we can start to see why this helps. Suddenly, instead of having repeating decimals, instead of having decimals, instead of having anything with exponents, we have this very straightforward equation, 99y equal to 82. This is much nicer than anything we've seen so far. From here, I can use some of my basic algebra skills. I'll divide by the coefficient of y on both sides, and when I do that, I now have a fraction equivalent for y. Y is equal to 82 over 99. I feel like I'm starting to make progress. Remember, our goal in all of this work is to take this mess of a decimal and find its fraction equivalent. So I now know the fraction equivalent of part of it, right? So I do feel like I'm starting to make progress. My last bit is here. I go back to where I began over here, and I'm going to separate out the 0.82 repeating again, and then I'm going to put everything over 99 because I want common denominators. When I do that, and then I add them together, I'll have 2,359 over 99 equal to 10x. You know what to do here. We're going to divide by 10 on both sides, or multiply by 1/10 on each side. And when we do that, I have basically achieved my goal. I wanted to know what the fraction equivalent was, and the fraction equivalent for that mess of a decimal is 2,359 over 990.